Thanks, Eli. And Derek, thanks for taking the time to chat with us.
Yep. No, thank you, Howard, and thanks to everyone. So I don't have to thank each of you along the way, but thank you all for joining. And yeah, I mean the excitement around the W is has a lot to do with your support. So we appreciate it.
I'm glad we could be a time saver in that way. So the question I have for you revolves around the way you are looking at the pieces fitting together in your front court. And, in terms of someone like Shanae, who I know came off the bench for much of her time in 2019, but obviously, has a pedigree, multi-time All-Star, somebody who's been a featured player. I was wondering, as you balance with her, with ACB, what do you see as the way your front court shakes out with the talent you have put together
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I mean, I think our front court for sure, starts with NECA in a lot of ways. Uh, the decision to, really focus on making sure we had the opportunity to have a conversation with NECA about what the future of this organization would look like and how we saw her fitting into it and us fitting into her vision. And I'll expand there as we go, but specifically in regards to Shanae and Amanda, and we obviously are excited, hopefully, to see Maria Vadiva probably closer to the second half of the season this year in terms of the Olympic break, and then Christine Anigwe, a young developing player. So we definitely have a lot of directions we could go up front. Ultimately, we want to have as many tools as possible in our front court, and we feel like Shanae and Amanda, were really great additions. People didn't see Vadiva last year, so we're excited to be able to get her back in the second half of the season. And in terms of just how it ends up looking, uh, you know, we're intentionally creating an environment in training camp where um, everybody's going to have to compete for everything. And we know it's professional sports, and we know that there are some givens, but what's great about this group and what has been great about this free agency process is every player we've spoken to that wants to be a part of what we're doing understand what we're trying to create, and they're ready to come in and compete.
Thanks, Howard. We'll go to Miriam Swanson with the LA Daily News.
Hey, Derek, thanks for doing this, as always. I guess I wanted to ask you about sort of that training camp. I mean, already you guys have 15 players there, and the draft still coming up. And you mentioned competing. Is it, how much competition is there going to be? And how is that different than it's been in past years, obviously, when you had a couple more stars in camp to sort of hold things down?
Yeah, no, a great question. I think, for us, like I kind of briefly just mentioned a little bit ago, as of now, we don't expect Maria to be here when the season starts. So that does give us the additional opportunity to carry what ultimately would be adding a 16th player, quote unquote, when training camp begins. So even though we're at 15 right now, unless things change with Maria, we would have the opportunity to have what, for a temporary period of time, a 16th player when training camp starts, which could be our 10th pick in the draft. It could be our second round pick at 22. It depends on, how many things go over the next month or month and a half. But outside of that, we are definitely creating, a highly competitive environment. And it doesn't mean that obviously, the stars and the veteran players that we have coming to camp, they know the game. They understand a lot about what it means to be in this league. Usually, they have the advantage, but we're very intentional about the players that we are adding. Not to mention a player like Christy Tolliver, who will be in training camp that we have not gotten a chance to see in the Sparks uniform since she re-signed with us before the 2020 season. So training camp is going to be different in a lot of ways, and we're excited about getting to that point. And I think our players are excited about it. It's a new era of Sparks basketball, and we're moving in a different direction. And I think everyone's looking forward to the process and the journey.
John W. Davis, the Winsider.
Hey, Coach Fisher, how's it going?
Good, John. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. I'd like to ask you a little bit more of a philosophical question.
John, I think we lost you there.
Can you hear me?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
better.
Okay.
Okay.
Uh-oh, we lost you again.
We lost you again, John. We'll circle back to you in a little bit here. Let's go over to Brady Klopfer with SB Nation.
Hey, Derek. I know your apologies. It's a fire truck driving right by my microphone right as I'm coming out.
It's all good, man. That's COVID for us.
That's COVID, and that's
yeah.
isn't it?
I was worried about whether you guys could hear my neighbor's dog barking every time I say a word. So it's all good.
About all the distractions. I know that you're obviously looking forward at this point of the season, but I'm wondering if you can tell us a little bit about what it was like on your end of things with Chelsea and Candace, you know, what those meetings were like, and when you knew that it was likely that there was going to be a separation there and that you had to start focusing on bringing in players like Erica, who you probably wouldn't have had the space to bring in had they resigned.
Yeah, I mean, I think that in terms of the essence of the conversations, things that were discussed, I know, players are, I think, much more empowered to speak to their experience more so than me or our team, kind of speaking on the tone or things that were said. But they were positive from our experience. And ultimately, the first decision in terms of free agency, and looking back, really was the choice to core NECA in terms of our core designation. That's really the first big domino in WNBA free agency, because you have to make that choice in the 2 weeks prior to being able to get into meaningful negotiations with players and agents. And so with that in mind, us choosing the core NECA and what she has meant to this organization and will continue to mean to it, going into conversations with Chelsea and Candace, we understood the risk. We knew that they were both unrestricted free agents and would have the opportunity to choose other teams if they so chose to. And we respect the decisions, like we really do. The opportunity for Candace to go back to Chicago, where her basketball career started. We wish her the best. I'm sure her family's happy, the community's happy, and we don't feel that there was anything negative about the process or the experience. And same for Chelsea. Chelsea's a wonderful person. Candace is as well. They won a championship here with this organization. They're close friends. It's difficult for them to, I'm sure, make the decision to play on two different teams. From what we can gather, Chelsea had the opportunity to visit with Las Vegas last year, during her somewhat more restricted type of free agency experience last year. And I think that lingered for her, that experience, and factored into the decision that she made this year. And we wish Chelsea the best as well. It looks like Vegas has a great team shaping up and poised to do some great things. So we wish both of them the best. Of course, except when they play us, we hope they don't do too good. But they're both fantastic basketball players, all-stars. Candace is a surefire Hall of Famer, one of the best players to ever play basketball. We've thanked her for her service here. I'm sure in the future there'll be other opportunities too. But right now we're excited just about moving forward and moving into this new era. And we're excited about that. We have a number of players. I mentioned Christy earlier. You mentioned Erica Wheeler in your question. And so we're excited about the future. Even though obviously our history and our tradition is something to be excited about as well.
Thanks, Brady. We'll go to Sabrina Merchant, also with SB Nation.
Hey, Derek. A lot of the players that we've had a chance to speak to so far have mentioned that they think this roster really fits your style of play and the way you want to coach. And I'm curious, what that means to you. How do you see that vision coming to life on the court?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've, over the last couple seasons, we've really worked hard to, play the game with a higher intensity level, and with much more pace. And so we've tried to build a team that we feel like will physically be able to sustain the pace we want to play at, the things that we want to do offensively in attacking teams, and having the dynamic players at multiple positions to be able to do so. Having Christy back on the court is beyond exciting for us. She was our number one priority in free agency in 2020, and we were very, very fortunate that she made the choice to come back to LA. So having her on the court is really exciting for us as an organization and as a staff. Erica Wheeler's speed and her ability to turn the corner and attack the paint offensively is something that has caused problems for teams in this league, for 4 years now. And we're excited about what she'll be able to do, for us in that regard. And then, just athletically at the wing positions, Brittany Sykes returning to our team. Like, I can't say enough about her. Her first year with us was not something that we were necessarily surprised in terms of the talent and the ability that she possessed, but really the type of person and the type of young woman that we want to build something with. All of her teammates loved having her, and made it very clear that it would be, an important piece to keep in the fold if we could. And she deserves, and her agent deserve all the credit in the world for seeing our vision, seeing the future of where we're going, and honestly, agreeing to re-sign with us, for a number that allowed us to continue to build our roster out the right way. And Brittany deserves a lot of credit for that. You continue to talk about, Simone and Bria Holmes and Nia Coffey, who we just added recently, getting Maria Vadiva back, Christine's talent that she showed last year, getting TRP back and healthy, Sydney Weiss, Taya Cooper. And so we really feel like, and obviously we have to get on the court and do it, but a combination of youth and athleticism and speed and dynamic play, combined with as highly accomplished of a group of veterans as you'll ever see, and Simone and Nneka and Shanae, and then adding Amanda's ability to give us size and rebounding, and toughness in the middle, but also an ability to space the floor offensively from the center position, that opens our offense up in ways that we feel like will allow us to be more efficient on that end. We've had a top 3 defense in the league the last 2 seasons. And in the postseason, we've stalled offensively, honestly. So we really feel like we've added the type of pieces that will allow us to break teams down offensively, and make us a more complete team.
All right, we're gonna circle back to John here, see if the audio's back.
Hi, can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, it's coming into me. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So appreciate your time, Coach Fisher, or GM Fisher. So what I want to ask you is, how does Coach Fisher assess the job that GM Fisher has done in his first off season? Because you've been a coach in this league longer than you've been a GM.
Mm-hmm. That's a great question. I normally ask you to come back to me later when we have some results to speak of. But to try and be as respectful as possible. Like, I think, with the question that Sabrina just asked and what the players have mentioned, I'm very excited, and we're all excited and happy about the direction that this team is going in terms of our personnel and the things we're going to be capable of doing. So my guess is that in those conversations between coach and GM, the coach is definitely happy that we can play faster. We can give Coach Latricia Trammell some additional toolbox material for some things that she wants to do on the defensive end. We really feel like we'll be able to be even more disruptive with the length and athleticism at the wing position, the speed at the guard spots. And so, yeah, we feel good about it. But again, it's all on paper right now. And until we put it all together, and most importantly, put an organizational culture and energy around who we are every day, that's what we really have to also bring along with where we're going on the court, and put something really special together. And I think a lot of our players, they see that vision, and we tried to lay it out for them as best we could. And we're excited about those people that have chosen to go on this journey with us. And we know we have to pay them back in a major way.
Thanks. We'll go to Chris Camello with Nightcast Media.
Hey, Derek, congrats on a successful offseason so far. I just want to start off by that, and thank you for taking the time to talk with us today. So I have a two-part question. One, after the losses of Candace and Chelsea, was there any sort of deliberation about whether or not to go maybe toward a culture shift? Maybe not shift is the right word, but maybe a culture pivot. And two, what has been the most difficult part of this process that maybe you didn't anticipate when you took on this role?
I think the first part, I think we're always looking to improve and get better, right? Whether players choose as unrestricted free agents or free agents to stay or to go to other teams, like our job is to be laser focused on improving who we are and what we do on a daily basis, on and off the court, within our organization, department to department. Our ownership group is as engaged as they've ever been. Like we're all in with the direction that we're going right now. And so I think regardless of the free agent decisions in terms of players, no matter whether it's yes or no, it's all information and just feedback about the things that we need to make sure we're staying focused on. So, I think that's the first part. Like our culture has been shifting, and we're continuing to shift it in the right direction. And that doesn't change, depending on what players are here or not here. The second part, which I need you to remind me of actually a little bit more, because I don't want to miss answering your question the right way. The second part of your question.
Oh, no problem. What has been the most difficult part of this, your first off season as GM, that maybe you didn't anticipate?
To be frank, like I'm not a guy that is always holding my cell phone and just constantly talking, texting, emailing. I like to decompress. I like to have a moment to myself and to family, and keep a level of balance and centeredness and connectedness. But being the general manager of a sports team is completely different than just coaching. It really is a 24/7 commitment, 365 days of the year. I think I anticipated that. I just didn't know what the experience would be like in terms of the amount of discussions and conversations and meetings and sharing ideas and pushing each other forward. But I intentionally signed up for it, even though I didn't quite exactly know how much my phone would ring or how long I would be on it from hour to hour. I wanted this opportunity to invest in our players and invest in our women and invest in the people in PR and in business and in marketing and in community relations. And, this team has been in LA for 25 years, and it's as accomplished as any professional sports team can be in a 25-year period in terms of the amount of championships won, the amount of postseasons that the Sparks have appeared in. And we're still fighting a very uphill battle. And I wanted to be a part of that fight, right? We are double minority here with the Sparks. We champion our women, which are underserved and underrepresented in many ways. And many of our women are women of color who are underrepresented and not always treated the way that they deserve to be treated. And so I'm intentionally here, even though it won't be easy. And only way I can do my job is that our players feel like, we're doing everything we possibly can to make their experience better here with our team.
Thanks, Chris. Time for just a few more today. We'll go to Pavy with H&B Media.
What's up, Coach? I asked NECA this yesterday, and she said she can, by the roster moves that you made, kind of see the system that you are installing here in LA. If I could just ask you to describe your system and describe your play style offensively and defensively, how would you do that? And how do the roster moves you made speak to the style of basketball that you want to play in?
I think that, versatility, speed, athleticism, quickness, mental and physical toughness, hunger, passion, humility, sacrifice, not things that other, teams, coaches are, feel are important values, but, those are really the priorities. And we feel like we've added players and continue to invest in players that check those boxes. Defensively, because I think that's where it really starts first. If you cannot disrupt teams offensively, not just through defensive scheme and strategy and tactical and adjustments, but also just through length, through size, through speed, the amount of opportunities and situations that you have to be able to switch defensively, that you have to get into rotation, that you have to be able to trap the pick and roll or trap the ball on the post and fly around and scramble coming out of it. Players that communicate and talk to each other. Those are all key things to great defense. And, we've been a top 3 defense the last couple of years, and we were intentional about the players we added that we feel like can even help us improve more there on that end. Offensively, you have to be able to attack the paint, like in a relentless, not taking no for an answer in terms of getting the basketball into the paint, whether through the pass, whether through the dribble. You have to get there. And we had to improve in our ability to turn the corner, to attack the paint off the dribble, players that are physically capable to possession after possession after possession, run, attack, sprint the floor, run the lanes, comfortable attacking the basket, finishing through contact, etc. All of those things are important to what we're trying to do. And so we made those things a priority. We feel like Erica does many of those things on both ends. Christy Tolliver, Shanae is the fourth the fourth most efficient from a field goal percentage standpoint player in the history of the league. We talked about NECA's efficiency. Amanda Zowie coming off a career year. Brittany Sykes, second team all defense. Taya Cooper's emergence as a rookie last year after being, drafted and then released and then signed, and what Sydney Weiss was doing before she went and succumbed to an ankle injury last season. Like we just feel like all of our players are going to fit what we want to do. And, I just think to your question, offensively, versatility, defensively, versatility. But you need the length, the speed, and the athleticism to do those things, and basketball IQ as well. I don't want to leave that out. And we're intentional about that part of it as well.
Thanks. A couple more here. We'll go to Rashawn Haylock with KTLA.
Hey, Coach, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Doing all right. You had a very decorated career as a player. I'm wondering, what are some of those traits from your playing days that have helped you now in this role as GM? And how did you go about preparing for this? Like, who are some people maybe you've leaned on or reached out to in terms of how to, address an off season and assemble a roster and things of that nature?
Yeah, I mean, I'll the second part first. Like I try really hard to respect, other folks' careers and who they communicate with, who I communicate with, et cetera. And so I will say that yes, I've repeatedly and consistently am in contact with with coaches that I played for, current coaches in both sides of the game of basketball, in college as well. Um, you know, Men and women that are general managers and presidents of teams now and or have been historically, um, player agents, uh, and current and former players on the men's side and the women's side. In addition to reading and listening to folks that have been in leadership positions within sports as well as within business, and how that ties back to my playing career, and how it may have helped to kind of prepare. I think it all really comes back to the people, and the as a player, like really, um, from a leadership position, uh, there were things that I felt really strongly and passionately about, that I believed in. And even if those things weren't always the exact perfect thing or the right thing for the team at that time, uh, ultimately it ends up being the right thing because as a leader, you have that's what you have to lean on, and that is definitely some of the advice that I've received, and that I've learned through my own experiences, or to believe in what you believe in and really remain consistent in that. And I think a lot of the decisions that we've made this off season, match that belief, and also recognize that every day there's something to learn. And I'll learn from this off season. We'll learn from I guess what people consider to be the rights and the wrongs or the good and the bad. But none of it is finite. So there's always something to learn and improve on. And, I try and live my life that way. And so whether it's leaning on others and getting advice from them, but I think what I learned as a player is, you can get advice from everywhere. The coach can give you a lot of information. Your teammates can tell you a lot of different things. But ultimately, you have to be committed and believe in really who you are and what you're capable of accomplishing. And that's what really gets you through.
Thank you so much, everyone. We just have time for one more. We'll go over to Amanda Skurlock with the LA Sentinel.
Hey, Coach. I'm wondering, how do you find yourself building chemistry among the team or helping the team kind of build chemistry, especially for this season? And also what lessons you got from this previous season, on how to kind of help the team build chemistry with one another?
Yeah, no, I that's a very intuitive question because those things are challenging, when you can't spend a lot of time together. Part of chemistry is trust, and part of trust is understanding, who you're working with, how they respond in different situations and vice versa. So it's not easy to develop the type of chemistry in particular that can carry over onto the court. The only thing that really helps that to develop is time on the court together. And so that's one of the reasons why we were very specific about, signing the players that we signed and going ahead and getting to that 15 and maybe 16 due to Vadiva, so that we know who we're showing up to training camp with, and we can start to communicate. We can start to have those conversations, and start to build some of that chemistry that you're referencing. Honestly, NECA's leadership, Christy Tolliver's leadership, Erica Wheeler's leadership, the players ultimately, take control of their team and their locker room. And I can't speak for them, but they are communicating together quite a bit already. And that is good to know and to hear. the conversation that they're having with each other. In terms of, what we'll try and continue to do to build that chemistry, just like we're all doing now. We're virtually connecting. We're sending notes to each other. We're communicating this way via Zoom. We're texting. We're calling. We're still trying to maintain those relationship ties, even though we can't physically spend as much time together. And we're going to have to lean into those things even more, and invest even more time in that, prior to showing up for training camp. But it ultimately comes down to, that chemistry on the court it's an on the court experience and journey. And, that's what we hope to start to create from day one in training camp. And we believe we put a group together that, no matter what the final results are, like, these are the type of people, the type of women, they have the type of attitude, the grit, the approach to life and to sport and to business, like that we're all excited to work with. And so, we can't wait. The draft is fast approaching. So, we still have work to do there with, we have a total of 4 picks, but, we'll see how things play out over the next month. Ultimately, again, thanks everybody for hopping on today. Really appreciate the time. And like I said earlier, our league is growing, but there's still so much more work to do. And hopefully I can be of value to all of you as you continue to add value to this league and to these women and what they're doing.